Oh, yes.
Hey, this is Jupiter Exile. I do enjoy some Magic the Gathering. Sometimes, in some formats. I don't have a whole lot of cards necessarily. I don't have a plethora of people to play with in the real space, and I haven't gotten involved in Chimera online where you can have whatever kind of cards you want, though I think that's a pretty cool idea. I have been playing Magic the Gathering Arena. I do find it kind of satisfying to unlock cards over time, and I like the ability to draft. But on Magic Arena, I don't necessarily want to play Standard because you tend to get blown out super fast by a bunch of mono red, and it's very difficult to build up a non-basic land base to play decks that are more complicated than mono red, although those decks are pretty fun to play when they're around. And I don't want to play Brawl on Arena, because when you play Brawl on Arena, you have to deal with all the most powerful stuff for the entirety of Magic Arena's runtime, dealing with Teferi's protections and other Teferi's protection and farewell and every powerful thing that's ever been printed that I don't have in my collection, because I haven't been playing consistently for Magic Arena's entire runtime. And the alchemy cards are in there, and that's preposterous. Who wants to deal with that? You got to deal with like the One Ring is legal too, so you get all the Lords of the Ring stuff. So instead, I like to play Standard Brawl. We've got a smaller deck size to worry about, a smaller card pool. I can build something that's nice and thematic without getting blown out. Because there's no rule zero when you're playing with random people online. And I like making kind of lesser used commanders and try to see how much power I can juice out of them. I'm not going to like sit down and play Liliana and just run out 4 mana black spells that win the game, play 2 Shea Aldrids, Gix, Phyrexian Obliterator. Bleh. It's not interesting. So I'm going to show today one of the decks that I built that I think is really interesting. There is a bit of generic power in here, but forgive me. There needs to be a little bit. All right, let's take a look. The deck that I am showcasing today is Ashnod Flesh Mechanist. So we've got a 1 mana, 1/1 Death Touch, so we know what we're doing turn 1 every single game. Whenever Ashnod Flesh Mechanist attacks, you can sacrifice another creature. If you do, create a tapped Power Stone token. And Power Stones are these dorky little mana rocks you can see on screen that we can only use to play artifacts or to activate abilities of stuff. We cannot use them to cast non-artifact spells. And alternate ways of casting spells like plot costs, the more recent one with the overlords, you can't pay for those costs because it's not an ability that's casting a spell at an alternate cost. Can't do that with Power Stones. So there's a few pieces of synergy that we're really looking for here. Most notably, I've got a bunch of creatures that come back out of the graveyard or go back to my hand pretty easily in Clay Revenant, Cult Conscript, Forsaken Miner, as well as Reassembling Skeleton, and I've got 9 Lives Familiar, which we can also sacrifice up to 9 times. And that's all fuel. So we're looking to drop Ashnod turn 1, go into some of these fuel creatures for turn 2 and beyond, and then just kind of reanimate them and get super grindy. I've got a couple of these fuel creatures that won't come back in the Greedy Freebooter and the Infestation Sage. We get just enough sacrifices out of those. Really, we're only looking to create about 3 mana stones to get us ahead of curve from like 4 to 7, so that we can drop something pretty dumb on turn 4 or 5 where it's not supposed to be there. We've got a couple cards that just synergize with this really cleanly. Scavenger's Talent does a lot of work. We're getting food for free. We can use food to stabilize if we've got a tough situation with an evasive creature. We can mill ourselves to try and find one of our pieces that functions from the graveyard in order to do better. Very rarely will we ever use the third ability, but something that's nice about Scavenger's Talent is we can use our Power Stones to help us level this up on the cheap. We've also got Bandit's Talent, mostly because it's easy to level up, and because we've got a secondary discard strategy off of the Raven Man and Tiny Bones Bauble Burglar. The active abilities for the Raven Man and Tiny Bones can be paid in using our Power Stone mana. Running these guys is a little experimental. I put them in a bit more recently to kind of see if there's some more value I could get out of Power Stones. Tiny Bones, I'm not sure about. The Raven Man is actually a pretty cool synergy because the birds that we're making off of the Raven Man can also become something else for us to sacrifice to Ashnod. Depending on the enemy deck, they may or not be comfortable trading things into Ashnod because we can replay Ashnod super easily. There's a lot of value associated with just having a Death Touch body on the board at all times. It's a Death Touch body and a Death Touch buddy. And so oftentimes we may lose Ashnod early and wind up just replaying them at 3 or 5. 3 mana for a 1/1 Death Toucher that has this threat of creating mana is still pretty good. 5 mana is a bit rough. We don't usually want to sit there. Sometimes it happens. We've got a redundant value engine in Vampire Gourmand that can also use our sack outs to draw us cards. And then we start to get from there into payoffs. Boombox is one of our earliest payoffs. We can wind up getting this cracked at turn 4 or 5 and wind up removing a couple things from the enemy board, usually a really nice tempo swing. On the big end, we've got Chimil the Inner Sun, which I consider to be the biggest sin of the deck in terms of this is just dumb generic power that it's not very thematic, so usually I wouldn't want to run it, but it really fits our niche of big dumb artifacts. We can drop the Phyrexian Flesh Gorger at its full 7 surprisingly often. It's incredibly hard to deal with without just board wiping. Meteor Golem helps us remove artifacts, helps us remove enchantments and deal with some other pesky threats that black normally can't touch. And sometimes we can recur this with Scavenger's Talent to get another hit. Cityscape Leveler and Portal to Phyrexia are pretty definitive game-ending cards. If they stick on the board, we're probably going to win. Around the 5 mana bracket, we've got a bit of control options in Blasphemous Edict. Can I get that preview on the other side? No, I'm just going to cover part of it. You can find out what this does. Everybody sacrifice 13 creatures. That's a board wipe. And it's a board wipe that gets around any size bodies, or indestructible. Or hexproof. I mean, all board wipes get around hexproof, but whatever. Season of Loss is another option for the same thing. Usually with Season of Loss, we're either going to pick everybody sacks 5, or we're going to pick everybody sacks 3, and I'm drawing cards. Most of our bodies are pretty pathetic, so it's kind of handy to do that. Also around the middle bracket, we've got Solemn Simulacrum, just bit of ramp. Hostile Investigator is pretty cool. We can pay for our clue sacrifices using Power Stones, and he synergizes well with our little discard package guys. Lastly, we've got Gix Yawgmoth Praetor, which is maybe a little better than you might expect. We can use Power Stones to pay for his big ultimate 7-cost ability, and most of our deck functions better in the graveyard anyway, so if we get access to this, we're usually very comfortable pitching away our entire hand and hoping we don't just miss. Recent addition to the deck was Zenith Chronicler. Zenith Chronicler is a star in 4-player Commander. I'm not sure if it is as viable in a 1v1 brawl, so I'm messing with it. I think this might be a little low rent. Previously, I was running Tarian Soul Cleaver, which I found was a bit too slow, so I cut that from the deck. Rottenmouth Viper is close to getting cut. I don't have a lot of confidence in this guy. He doesn't tend to do enough work relative to the amount of things I have to sacrifice to get him on the board. We've also got a couple generic removal pieces. If you run because it's 1-on-1, if we were in 4-player Commander, we probably wouldn't run them. Lord Skitter gives us a healthy set of sacrificeables. Come Back Wrong removes an enemy body and gives us something to sacrifice to Ashnod at the same time. And it's just a really fun, flavorful card that I would look for an excuse to run in any kind of deck. So there's the explanation. Let's get into a couple games. But if you sit tight, have a little bit of magic. I can tell you ahead of time what my turn 1 is. I'm going to play Ashnod Flesh Machinist. So don't worry about missing that part. We'll keep this hand because we've got the Greedy Freebooter as our first sacrifice. I might wind up sacrificing the Zenith Chronicler as well, depending on how things go. And has simple goals. We're gonna make Power Stones and try to get Phyrexian Flesh Gorger on the board. Against Ezrim Agency Chief. This guy's pretty fun. Surge Engine, does Defender stuff. I don't really care what he does. We're gonna drop the Freebooter. Scavenger's Talent. You can, like, spend mana on this guy to make him do cool stuff. Doesn't matter to me. You want to trade? I do not need to draw this swamp. I have a land in hand. Soul Sim will get me another land. We will trade. Cool. I'll put Command Zone. 4 mana active next turn, possibly 5 with the treasure. So I can either drop Ashnod and the Zenith Chronicler, or I can just do the Soul Sim. Matter Weaver. Okay. Swamp. If I drop the Soul Sim here, then next turn I will have 5, 6 mana. It's not enough for the Flesh Gorger, so I'm gonna go for Ashnod. No, I could have burned the treasure to have that out. That's probably better. How fast do I need to go here? 3. He's a bit away from playing his commander, but I'm still going to bring out the Chronicler. Yeah, I think I should have just dropped Soul Sim there, and then I would do the Swamp, crack this to bring out the full power Flesh Gorger, which is insane to drop on turn 5. Exiling the commander? Okay. Put that back in the command zone. We may not be casting Ashnod again. No blocks. Doesn't bother me. So we're a little slower than I wanted to be. I could bring out the Transmigrant, alter, sack, get 3 mana. So that's that and 2. Then tap 1 for 3, and then bring out the Soul Sim. I don't think that's worth doing. I just want to bring out the Soul Sim. We'll probably use him as a chump blocker at this rate. Getting countered. Alright, getting countered. This guy's down to 2 cards in his hand. 4, 5. It's fine. Let's see. Countering this would be a mistake. Alright. Play Revenant. I'll attack. I've got the Flesh Gorger in the back pocket. He's only got 1 card in hand, and his only card advantage engines are Ezrim and Fountain Port. He could bring out Ezrim here. I don't actually think he's going to. It's very strange to me. Okay. Sure. I'm gonna bring Ashnod back out. Alright. No attacks. EOT make a fish. I'll just EOT draw a card. Yeah, he needs more cards in hand. He's spent a lot of resources to get to this point, and he's not done anything that interesting. So here comes Ezrim. I would like to have had 2 Power Stones here. Pick up a 9 Lives Familiar. It's a good outlet for Ashnod, but it's not the most interesting thing. 6. Okay. 4 mana. 5, 6. I'm gonna attack with Ashnod here. Sacking the Clay Revenant. I'll make a food token. Do you want to block? Okay, that's fine. Commander's going back to command zone. We have a very expensive Ashnod now. Likely not going to play him again. But we've got 7 mana for a non-prototype Phyrexian Fleshgorger. This needs to stick. Sweet. He digs for answers. You do not want to deal with a You do not want to be staring down a Phyrexian Fleshgorger. This is a bigger, better creature than his commander in basically every way. And the lifelink Menace is just going to let me kind of swing into him hardcore. And he doesn't really want to use Ezreal's abilities here, I don't think. He just wants to crack into me and hope he's got a card in his hand to make me not win. So, yeah, Sunfall. There we go. He gets his incubation token. So now I'd say he's got the advantage. I could level up Scabber's Talent. I think that does pretty well for me here. I'll just take that to level 3. He does not have any evasion showing. So I'm just going to bring out 9 Lives Familiar to chump block and preserve my life total. He's drawn. I'll give up the food, the 9 Lives Familiar, to bring back Solemn Simulacrum. And I'm going to mill you for 6. I'll get a Swamp in tap, get a food. And it's very possible for me to mill him for 6 about every turn. It's not the most efficient way for me to get through this, though. Ezreal's back. Ezreal does fly, which is, I think, a possible concern. Let's see. I want to be using my food for life gain at this point. With 9 mana, we'll bring out Ashnod for 7. Four mana available. He might be looking to spend counterspells on Ashnod because he doesn't feel like he has better things to do with his counterspells, which isn't necessarily the wrong way to think about this. Let's see. I can't bring out and use the Transmigrant Altar at the same time. So we're going to pass turn here and not use the Scavenger's Talent, I think. I might like to use Scavenger's Talent on Lord Skitter. If I did that, I would be giving up 9 Lives Familiar. No, I want to use food tokens to slow down my death. So we're just going to pass here. And we'll decline the Scavenger's Talent. Go right ahead. So I can still safely attack him with Ashnod to profit off the 9 Lives Familiar, but I don't really have a card draw engine. Soul Sim getting countered earlier in the game was very annoying. Because with a Finality counter, I'm not going to get his Dies trigger. Got no blocks, it's in the air. Damage happens, yep. Ghost Vacuum is super annoying. I want to see if he targets the Clay Revenant. Okay, he's not going to be that eager to do it. He might get the chance. Use the food. I might mill Self here. Not with him having a Ghost Vacuum. Mill 2. Okay. Gonna bring in the Altar. Cult Conscript. Sacrifice the Conscript for 3/3. You mill 2. I make a food. Go to combat. We attack with Ashnod. Sacrifice the 9 lives familiar. Mill 2. I keep 5 mana open so that I can eat a food and bring back the Clay Revenant to hand in response to a Ghost Vacuum. Block Ashnod with a fish. Alright. Sure. Targeting the 9 lives familiar. Okay, you got the 9 lives familiar. But I bring back the Cult Conscript here. And I could bring the Clay Revenant back to hand here. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll decline that. I need the food on the board. Transmigrant Altar gives me a sack outlet on the Cult Conscript, too. I might have to gang block this Phyrexian guy, so I can't take more damage. If he can bounce my board, I lose here, which is a bit of a bummer. But it's kind of difficult for me to fight through Sunfall and counterspells. I could have chosen to mill Self to try and grab up more resources. Best thing I could get... I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff I could mill. I'm hiding my hand from you. So I should actually put my portrait over here. I don't care about that. That's just card advantage, artifact, whatever. And block that. He didn't want to kill my Soul Sim because he doesn't know how Finality works. That's pretty funny. I get more food. I think I am in the space where I can, like, eat food and sacrifice permanents faster than Ezrim can kill me. So I'll do this, Transmigrant Altar sacrifices Clay Revenant. What do you mean, good game? You see that I have food, right? I have 3 food tokens. You know that I can eat those. No attacks. Go ahead. Decline. $22 cards. I can bring the Revenant back and eat up to 2 food. Okay. I eat, you mill. Draws a card, he draws another card. He's got enough non-basics for Razor Lash to come back for 2 mana. On demand. You've got a huge hand. You gotta have more plays, man. That's annoying. I eat, you mill. My turn. Swamp. Let's see. I'm gonna attack with probably these 3 guys. Get in some damage. Sacrifice the Razor Lash. You mill 2. I make food. You gain life, that's fine. I have the mana necessary to eat 2 food and bring back both my guys, right? It's 5 plus 4. Yeah, I can do that. Go ahead. I could drop the Cult Conscript and the Solemn Simulacrum to bring back something. Yeah, I'll drop this, and this. Bring back a Greedy Freebooter. Oh no, that's a Dies trigger. Bring back Lord Skitter. Mill 6. If he has a reshuffle graveyard and a deck card, that would be quite the blowout. Or anything with haste. He hasn't showcased any haste, any attack power buffing, and he's going to be down to 7 cards in deck. These food make him mill 4. Buddy? Hello? Did he disconnect? What's going on here? Come on. You have to have cards in hand that deal with this problem, right? Like, I have not done anything that crazy. I'm just sitting here not dying and milling you. You have to be able to kill me with more than just one guy. You cannot play one guy and then keep everything in your hand and win the game. So I promise you I can heal 6 per turn. I think my opponent died at the keyboard. Tragic. Did he just... I don't know what's going on, if he just came to the realization that Ezreal is not able to kill here, and then he just... Yeah, he just like, oh no, I'm gonna deck out. How mortifying. Why did I not think to run a second creature? If we look at his entire graveyard, this is basically all control tools, removal, split up. He's got a Abuelo, which does nothing but blink guys. I guess he can blink the commander to make more clues. His entire... It looks to me like his entire game plan is put this commander on board, protect this commander, and then if the commander can't win, he's kind of screwed, is what it looks like to me. Get chat to hang out over here. There we go. That looks good. Yeah, he's just like, oh, I can't kill him by doing 5 damage a turn. I'm gonna deck out and lose because we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 by next turn. Yeah, no. If it comes back around to me, he loses, and he didn't have lethal. He didn't have it. All he has to do is 11 damage. What's wrong? What's wrong? So that's the deck in action. 2 games, 2 or 3. Okay, this opening hand only gives us Razorlash Transmigrant as a gas creature, which is not really what we're looking for, so I'm going to take the mulligan here. Play Revenant and Greedy Freebooter are better gas. We've got Blast Edict to kind of back us up if things get hairy. Let's keep. First turn is the commander, as always. We're up against Roxanne Starfall Savant this game. If she gets to ramp, she can really get out of control for us. That'll be a bummer if it happens. Gonna bring in the Freebooter. Attack. Sacrificing the Freebooter. Do you trade with the Elves? I'm gonna tuck the Rottenmouth Viper to the bottom. He's not the sort of thing I'm looking for right now. Okay, we get in. Cool. I'll bring in the Clay Revenant as well. Go ahead. I'm glad to go first in a matchup like this. The early game's going to be very important. Bushwhacking for a land. Maybe they weren't hitting their land drop. Maybe they didn't have red. Reading the Revenant. Good idea. Okay, I've got a couple options here. I think I want to bring in Lord Skitter and use that as my sack option. Or I could bring in Mirex, start printing things. If I bring in the Gourmand now and then Skitter next turn, I'm not keeping up on sack options. Let's do this. Into Lord Skitter. This play pattern gets me the most power on board. I just have to hope he's not holding up a bolt. He was holding up a bolt. Okay, I'm going to want to get the Gourmand out so I can start drawing cards somehow. Holding Raptor is a problem. We do not like to see that much ramp over here. But I don't want to Blasphemous Edict. I don't want to Blasphemous Edict too early, but once Roxanne starts hitting board, it gets pretty hard for us to play. I don't want the Gourmand getting sniped out either, but I think what I'm going to do here is bring the Revenant back to hand, play it, use it with Ashnod. We're going to go a little greedy, and we want them to commit harder before we drop the Blasphemous Edict. The problem with Roxanne is once she enters and generates mana, she becomes very easy to replay. Damage. Just gonna end turn there. Alright, so they've got access to 6 mana, 7 if they drop something from hand. That's definitely Roxanne coming out. And she's almost certainly gonna shoot Ashnod. Put Ashnod in the command zone. I'll take 6, that's okay. I'm gonna leave the treasure for me. Okay. Looks like we get to one-sided Blast Edict. Go ahead. So they've only got 4 mana up, with Roxanne being at 7, since they were using so much creature mana. This should put them pretty far behind. Exactly the kind of board I want to be looking at. We're going to bring in the Mirex. Ashnod comes back. I'm going to bring out the Gourmand. And we're passing. We've got enough Power Stones to activate Mirex. Bone Horde Dracosaur. Beginning of upkeep, exile top 2 cards, and they get to maybe play them. Mirex token. Bone Horde Dracosaur has first strike, so he's actually theoretically a deterrent to Ashnod, which is a bit of a bummer. Drop a swamp. Let's see. So I'm definitely going in with the Gourmand to get card draw. Question is, do I want to go in with Ashnod as well? It's 4 mana to bring the Revenant back. I think we just go in with the Gourmand here and see what we draw off the top, see if we find a good play. Boombox! That's a really good play. We've got access to like 10 mana. Activate the Boombox. Gonna destroy an artifact, a creature, and a land. Back down to 4 mana without that advantage engine. Alana and Elena. Also first strike. Back to me. Drop a swamp. I'm gonna make a Mirex token. And we're gonna go in with the Vampire Gourmand again to fish for a play off the top. Grievous Wound. Yeah, the Boombox is pretty wild when you can play it very casually like that. Get wounded. With Grievous Wound, we can actually clock them down a bit more aggressively. See, Alana and Elena can only put their counters on another creature. And this guy is just a mana dork. 5... and another mana dork. Mana dorks are out in force. You're not attacking with them. Okay. I really need the Revenant back in hand now. I'll give up the treasure for it. Okay. Chimil is brutal. Dropping that. Drop the play Revenant. We're just going to go in with the Gourmand, keep Ashnod as a blocker to deter his other stuff. Give up the Revenant. We get an unblockable 2. Oh boy. This is mean. This is so mean. You lose half your life. We're going to play Season of Loss. Everybody's sacrificing 3, and I'm drawing per sacrifice. I give up both of my bodies, draw 2. They give up everything they have, and they scoop. That was brutal. I got some very, very saucy top decks. I actually think the deck's a little light on card draw. And I really feel the need to fix that. Okay, we've got Forsaken Miner for some gas, Gix for a payoff, Skitter for more gas, and a Rottenmouth Viper just because. Perfectly good hand. We're up against Winter Misanthropic Guide, which threatens to give us cards. Oh no. He can theoretically reduce our maximum hand size. He's also a Delirium deck. Lord Skitter makes him kind of sad. He got the play. He might know what's up. He might have an idea of what he's in for if he lets this commander sit around. Going Forsaken Miner. If he doesn't put a body down, I'll play Gix and start getting value. If he does play a body, I'm a little likelier to play Ashnod. A little FOMO. We're going Lord Skitter here, so we can put him off of his Delirium. Exiling an artifact creature sets him back by 2 on Delirium. Lord Skitter also is a crime committer to bring back our Forsaken Miner, which is very funny. Lord Skitter might make it easier for us to play into Rottenmouth Viper in second main. So we've got 4 mana, 2 sacrifices. 4 mana, 3 mana, 3 sacrifices. It's pretty good. Yeah, with him deciding to ramp, I'm just gonna try and like run out a big threat. We want to do that after combat step. I could drop Gix and swing in with 3 bodies. Yeah, let's just fish for cards actually. It's a bit stronger. He's got no open mana for a combat trick, so Skitter can swing in too. So we're connecting with at least 2 guys for 2 cards in hand. In his color scheme, I don't think we need to Grievous Wound him to win the game. Weatherlight's a cool, really greedy card that is easy to activate. Triumph the Gix. What are you doing with the rest of your 5 mana? Collapse, destroyed, okay. Glissa. This is now a really good board for me to Season of Loss into. He's out of cards in hand, and he's not showing any draw methods. And I've got to go for the Throat. Siowa doesn't do anything I really care about. I'm going to have 6 mana on my turn. Winter is beginning of his upkeep effect. Each player draws 2 cards. I don't want him getting any cards in his hand. It's 4 mana with the Ward to go for the Throat this. Got 6 mana to work with. Yeah, fair. Yeah, we'll bring that back. And we will run out of Scavenger's Talent. With his hand size, I think he's just going to bring Winter back out. Rather, his hand size. With the fact that he doesn't have anything, he's going to bring the guy back out. Let's see what I want to do here. I could rip the last card out of his hand, which is really funny. If I Grievous Wound him, he probably wants to block, but I can't profit off of his block. Yeah, I think we rip the card right out his hand. Play the Weatherlight after. I can get the 9 lives out as a blocker. Three, 4, 5. We could give up the Investigator to bring out the Viper, but I don't really like that very much. He's gonna knock my hand down to a size of 3. So I think I just bring out the Weatherlight here. That's fine. Okay, he's got gas now, and he's got a lot of cards in play. He's got a lot of lands. So theoretically, he's going to be pretty dangerous. He's not playing very dangerous cards. He's showing a Scrapwork Mutt in the graveyard. He milled out a Virtue of Persistence. The only actually scary card I've seen him play. Although he is taking my hand size down to 1. I will discard a card. Right? Yeah. The odds of me bringing out this Viper are super small. Oh, my discards also investigate. I didn't know that about that guy. We got 8 mana to work with. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think I just run all this out. Do I want to attack in? Yeah, I like attacking with the Investigator. So if we give up the his life total's real pressured. If we give up the Investigator, we get the food off Scavenger's Talent. And we get the Scry off the Weatherlight. Fell's nice. Boombox is crazy. So we're going to be making swing-ins with Vampire Gourmand. We could drop a Grievous Wounds to threaten him. Okay, he's going to wheel. His Delirium's still at 6. That's not a wheel. That gave him a much bigger hand. So he dropped 2 and went up to 6. So that's cool. He's still digging. He's being very conservative. But he did discard cards. Yes, I will sacrifice a permanent here. And give up my Forsaken Miner. Which gives me food. Triggers the Weatherlight. We'll keep Chimil on the top. It's a big deal. I can pay 4 to just outwinter here with Fel. And then that lets me keep my hand. Yep. I'll pay that. Do I want to pay this 1? I'll have 3 mana left over. That's okay, yeah. I'm going to use the 3 to bring out Ashnod. Oh wait. Do I want to... He's at 26 cards. I'm just going to level this. And I'll go in like this, pressuring his life total. We'll sacrifice the 9 lives familiar because it's free. You're going to mill. I make food. I don't want that card right now. Take damage. Swamp Boombox. 9 lives familiar comes back. I'm threatening his life total and his deck size. And I don't know what he's going to try to play to kill me, but I can boombox it if it's not indestructible. Itali. Okay. He gets a Liliana from his own deck. He's going to get something shitty from my deck, because my deck is intentionally a little shitty. Reassembling Skeleton. Congratulations. What does Liliana do here? Are you going to make me discard? Or are you going to force a sack that I don't care about? Because the sacrifice I definitely don't care about. And the discard, I'll give up Grievous Wounds. Tyvar. Lets him untap. Lets him do a mill thing. Reanimation. Yeah, we'll both discard. I don't need Grievous Wounds here. His life total is low enough that the value off of Grievous Wounds is just not worth 5 mana. Vampire Gourmand plus the bird can kill Tyvar or threaten Liliana. Okay, now just the bird can kill Tyvar. He brought in FOMO. FOMO needs to attack to get its double attack trigger. But that could be dangerous if I allowed it to live. He discarded the card. Yep, I will sacrifice the Forsaken Miner. I'm gonna mill 2. I'll put that on the bottom. I have better top decks. That's not a better top deck. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna boombox, right? Pretty sure. So we boombox Itali, he doesn't have an artifact, and we kill a land. Yeah, because with the rest of his board, I don't actually give a shit if he uses FOMO. So we're gonna boombox, no artifact, kill Itali. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh, he scoops. Come on, man, I need to think sometimes. Because I'm just gonna kill your Itali, then kill both your Planeswalkers while I draw cards and reanimate things. What's the matter? Also, I'm milling you to death. Let's go again. People don't let me finish these games. I do want to show the deck underperforming or losing, because I think that's important to the authenticity of a video where you're showcasing a deck build. If you do a deck build but you only show games where the deck wins, it's not very good. I think Koth has all the tools to make us really sad. And this is a good keepable hand for the deck. I think Koth probably tears it up because I think Koth is a matchup that probably beats us 90% of the time. Because he's gonna cook my commander every time I play it. right? Because here, I'm going to bring out the Raven Man. Like, what do I play that doesn't get cooked, right? And it's gone. And I bring out Lord Skitter. He makes a rat. Go ahead. And it's gone. And I bring out Ashnod and a Clay Revenant. I turn my rat to the right. Runs out a lot of small dudes. And it's gone. Ashnod's back. Take one from the rat. Go ahead. He missed a land drop. There's the land drop. There's Cough. He will never miss a land drop again.
I'm ready to fight.
And it's gone.
This is for the fallen.
Okay, let's see. I think I attack both of these at Koth to force the block. This will make him lose his Percussionist, which is not that big a deal, but I want to make sure he doesn't have that. He gets an exile off the top. I get a food, showing a Staff of Completion. All right. Make this Revenant into a zombie. Cards in hand. So my Ashnod is 7 mana, which is very close to useless. Staff of Completion. I see a lot of people play this. I do not see a lot of people do anything worthwhile with Staff of Completion. Okay, more cards out of his hand. He's not attacking with the Swift Spear. Interesting. Solemn Simulacrum. I'll get a land in. Put it on the altar. I make food. I draw a card. I get a 3/3, and you go ahead. So, if Koth gets that -7, we lose the game. Pretty much. That's how Koth works. So how do we threaten him off that -7? How does he have more cards in hand than me, is my question, without paying to draw a card yet? It's because Koth is putting more mountains in his hand. And because I've played one out. He -3'd Koth again. To get rid of a 3/3 guy? I did not see that coming. Exiles until they hit a non-land card. Chooses a non-land card, exile this way. Cast up to 2 spells when the other cards exile this way. Okay, I pick one thing for him to not play. Got it. I have 8 mana. Go 9 lives Familiar. Bring out the Weatherlight to start scrying. We want to alter the 9 lives Familiar. Make food. It's coming back. Scry that to the bottom. Better threats. Do another 3/3. Familiar comes back. Well, shit. Fuck. Damn it. Without paying their costs. I have to keep him off of my Cityscape Leveler. It was like one of the best hits he could manage. I think it's functional. The deck is usually functional enough without Ashnod hitting. Honestly, making him spend resources on removing Ashnod 3 times seems to me like it's a good effect for the commander. So he's brought in All Will Be One. Oh, Fest of Limbers. Huh. Okay, card or token put into his graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. I don't think I can abuse that, really. But it gives him access to all his easy removal. Fiery Annihilation can get rid of my 9 lives familiar, but the rest of this isn't that big a deal. I don't think he's gonna attack. Cards in deck. He exiled my Cityscape Leveler, so I don't get to bring him in. 8 mana is close to enough to bring out any threat I draw off the top. Okay, so you got the Fiery Annihilation off. I don't see how he got the 3 mana. It was off of Staff Completion. Okay. My goal, my answer here is to print more 3/3s. If I ever get 3 3/3s on board, or even 2 3/3s, I can go at him with Koth. Grievous Wound might help me kill here. This Festival of Embers makes him pay a life to do a thing. Staff of Completion requires him to pay a life. We can basically shut off those cards. I'm gonna level up the Scavenger's Talent. And then we pass. Koth is at 3. It's Plarg Nasiri again. Oh, no, he gets to cast the thing. Okay, well, you're not casting my Grievous Wound. I forgot about Plarg and Nasari triggering again. Yeah, he gets to take out the trash. It's pretty fine. It's not that fancy. But I did want the Grievous Wound. Oh well. I get food. Weatherlight gets progress. I'm not drawing that. I have a lot of food to eat if my life total gets in danger, but my life total is not the problem. If Koth gets to 7, he's going to have too much board control for me to fight against. Yeah, it's the number of tokens he puts on is what he gets to do. He's pulling all the mountains out of his deck. Is there ever a play pattern where I do try to mill him out? He's going to hit me with that.
Never forget the home we lost.
He's got the tools to out my stuff. He's destroying my Weatherlight. That's a bummer. Not much I can do about it. This is a big advantage he's playing with right now. So it looks like I'm going to take 8, and my life total is pretty pressured here. Let's see, 35... my biggest play from the graveyard effect is already gone. Milling myself doesn't have good hits. So I probably need to be eating a lot of food. If I am milling, I'm milling him. See that? Exiles from the top. Wait. So every time he exiles, he just keeps going until he hits something, and they actually stay out? Huh, okay. And he pulls lands out of his deck with Koth. Is he gonna proliferate to hit my reassembling skeleton? Okay. Cool, cool, cool. If I don't draw a board wipe, I think I'm cooked. That is not a board wipe. I don't have anything that can come out of the grave to, like, mess with him. We're bringing this back. We're making another Transmogrant. I can bring back, like, my Solemn Simulacrum or my Lord Skitter. It's 5 mana to get this capped out, and I really think I need to be eating food. I want to keep 2 mana open to bring back the Reassembling Skeleton, and then use the rest to eat. I think we're only eating once this turn. We're kind of at his mercy at this point. I think we're in a really bad way. I just need to rip something good off the top. The All Will Be One off the Plarg of Nasiri. If that was offset against any of my other cards, I let him play my card. You can take my Zenith Chronicler. I'm fine with that. Yeah, okay. Sure. It's a 3-1. Does nothing for either of us. He can proliferate Koth up to 7 and give up Koth if he wants. But that puts him down to 8 life. And I don't think he has life gain, because he's in red. Yeah, he's going for it. Losing Grievous Wounds off the top might have been the death knell here. Okay, doing 1 damage to that guy. Is he gonna minus Koth? Okay, no. He's gonna play a mountain to out my guy. That is, I mean, that's acceptable. That kind of thing happens. I've got 7 food. If I eat all of this food, he's down to 10 cards in deck. Oh, all will be 1 damages on Koth enter. That's so gross. I don't believe he got those 2 cards to pair up. It's threatening 7 damage. I think he still hasn't played his land for the turn, and he's got his emblem. Yep. So we're only off lethal by 1. He could easily have 1 damage. I think that actually does it. I think I'm dead. Yeah, I'm dead. Oh, just, yeah, Plarg and Nasari hitting all will be 1 was so hard to deal with. And I don't think there's a world where I give him the option to cast my 8 mana spell for free either. He hit all of my big stuff. I needed to top deck any of those. Anything. Okay, cool. Well, we chalked up a loss to show that we're not invincible with this deck. To show that we're not gaming the system. We are not editorializing too much. If you're playing in a 4-player pod, I think it's probably a lot easier to get the commander out early and get up some power stones while nobody thinks you're a problem. And you could probably use that to ramp into some jank artifact power. I don't own the artifacts that do that, but I'm sure it's a thing. I'm gonna mulligan this hand because I don't have any of my, like, easy sacks, and I don't have 3 mana to play the comeback wrong. I didn't talk about Defiled Crypt Cadaver Lab earlier. We have so many boys that come back out of the graveyard. This is not what we love to see, but we can use Comeback Wrong. Since we're on the play, we'll be able to come back wrong on their Amalia. I'm going to open Ashnod. Turn 2's probably Scavenger's Talent, unless we rip something off the top that we can sacrifice. Please do not play a turn 1 Bat. Incoming Ruin Bat. Oh, Authority of the Consuls. This card is annoying, but it's not that big a deal. We hit a gas creature and our Scavenger's Talent. Awesome. So this guy's going to gain a bunch of life. It's going to be very difficult for us to actually take them out, I think. Are you playing Amalia? Or are you going to rip a card from my hand with the ever-present bat? Is the bat. You take the Blast Edict or the Comeback Wrong? If you take the Blast Edict, I have to come back wrong the bat, I think. Which is amusing because I get to know what your hand is. I don't have a crime to bring back the Forsaken Miner. I'm going to attack with Ashnod here. I misplayed a little bit. I should have attacked with Ashnod first, so if he blocked, I could replay Ashnod. I don't think it's going to happen anyway. Pretty dead turn for us. They know that I have Blast Edict in hand, so I think it's going to be troublesome to get them to commit anything. If I can commit a crime and get the Machinist back in, the Miner back in, start getting some value up. But in the meantime, they're going to start exploring and possibly fishing up some cards. Not what we want to see. Oh, Sheoldred the Apocalypse. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Very cool card. Very cool card. Yeah, I think I bring in Phyrexian Fleshgorger, because it's just a general problem card. It's like the one time I'm going to bring in a creature, not sack it immediately. So the game plan is I'm going to play with the Gorger as a problem on the board for a bit, and then we'll want to bring it back with Scavenger's Talent as a 7/5 later. Go ahead. I would like at least 4 things on their board before we Blast Edict. Okay. Doesn't really bother me. I mean, their goal here is if they can get Amalia big enough. Enters, kicked, returns. Okay, whatever. If they can get Amalia big enough, they can force me to play into Blast Edict. Okay, explore that to Grave. Take damage. Cat Collector. I'm gonna eat a little food to keep my health topped off. Question is if I mill them or me. I have a couple good things that could play out of the graveyard right now. Mill self. Got 2 lands out of the way. So that's good. Plucking in a little lifelink to keep myself in the game. Put Ashnod on the board, which cannot threaten a blocker on Amalia because Authority of the Consuls is a sickeningly good card. It's not sickeningly good, it's just really annoying. Really annoying. Yeah, we'll bring out the altar here. Okay, we at least get Sheoldred out of the hand. That is the requisite amount of Blasphemous Edict value for me to feel good about playing my Blasphemous Edict. Draw a card. I will lose 2 life. I'm gonna attack. Sacrifice the Gorger for a Power Stone. Start milling you. And we are not going to bring back the Forsaken Miner. Damage. We will Blasphemous Edict. Because I sacrificed something to the Blasphemous Edict, I can mill them 2 cards. So the Scavenger's Talent Mill can also bring back our Forsaken Miner, which is really funny. Okay, we've got 5 mana and 2 Power Stones to work with. Amalia's back. The ward on Amalia is 3 life. I'm going to level up the Scavenger's Talent, and I'm going to come back wrong the Amalia. And we'll bring back the Forsaken Miner. You can have the life, you can do the exploration. That's cool. I should have been able to organize those triggers. The game screwed me over. Forsaken Miner and 2 food to bring back the Flesh Gorger, and we will mill them for 6. We're hoping that they don't have good plays out of Graveyard. Kind of betting on that. With a life gain deck, milling them a lot and just staying alive with food and lifelink is a pretty decent bet for us. Their commander costs 6 now, and they're only showing 5 mana. I don't think they want to bring the commander out for 6. I'm sure they have better plays. Sunblessed Healer, resurrecting something. So my game plan right now is probably to stall out by using Reassembling Skeleton with Transmigrant Altar. I think they're bringing back the Bat. They're not bringing back the Bat to peep my hand. They're bringing back Petrify to hold down my flesh. Why didn't they ward? Oh, why didn't they pay the ward cost? You just targeted my Flesh Gorger. Why didn't you pay 7 life? The fuck? What? I don't understand what just happened. What I do understand is that we're sacrificing a bunch of stuff. You're milling. I'm gonna bring this skeleton back. You can gain life a good bit. Okay. I kind of want to keep my mana open to be able to eat food, or to bring back the Reassembling Skeleton. But I do also want the Weatherlight completed on the board. Gonna run out the Weatherlight completed. It's got really good hits. We're gonna give up the Miner, the Flesh Gorger, and food token to bring back, funnily, the Skeleton, which we don't usually want to do. Because this puts finality on the Skeleton. Not our favorite game plan. But we can bring back the Miner again immediately and get in a mill 6. Cityscape Leveler is going to hang out on top. So I could have kept the Flesh Gorger with the plan to maybe remove the Petrify. I'm just playing this really aggressively. 8 mana, we can run out the Leveler to kill something of theirs. Yep, that's worth killing. It has to be honestly anything. Doesn't really matter. Holding up the rest for blockers. Go down to 8. Uncomfortable. We are giving them a lot of graveyard utility by milling out their deck. Letting them play a lot of stuff from the grave. Guess that is less than or equal to. That's a bummer. No attacks. I think we have to decline the Scavenger's Talent here. I cannot afford to sacrifice 3. Kill spell for the Cityscape Leveler is fine. We can unearth it next turn to remove Sheoldred. Board wipe is cool with me too. Because on board wipe, I keep the Forsaken Miner Scavenger's Talent set up to keep milling them out of their last 17 cards. Weatherlight only has 1 token on it right now. I would love to have more. Dazzling Angel might as well read 2/3 flyer, do nothing. Okay. They're going to try to threaten me in the air for an overhead kill when I'm down to 6 life. So we're going to have to eat a lot of food about that. Trade and chump. We get food. We get the scry. One more scry. No more scry. Okay. Draw. Tiny bones. Okay. So we definitely need to attack and out as Sheoldred, then I think I just need to eat food. Pretty much. Let's see if he blocks. I think blocking would be a pretty big mistake. Except for maybe blocking the Miner with the Angel, which I wasn't thinking about. I can't sack the Miner to Transmigrant Altar. No blocks, his health total is super high. Yeah, that makes sense. I will Transmigrant the Miner. I need to hold up 4 to eat my food. I could hold up 6 to eat all of my food. He's going to attack for 3, 4, 5, 7. I don't necessarily need to eat everything. Half the life. Out. I think I need to eat at least twice. Decline the Scavenger's Talent. I might need Cityscape Leveler to kill Authority of the Consuls so that I can play more blockers. But outing the Dazzling Angel might also be important just because it's a flyer. Vampire Nighthawk, same reason. I eat all my food. He goes down to 8 cards. And then Scavenger's Talent kills him. He has to kill me on this swing. He might not realize that. Battlecry triggers. Eat. You mill. Massacre Worm would have won the game. So glad he did not draw a Massacre Worm. Eat. You mill. 7. There goes Elenda. I go to 5. With 10 cards left in his deck, if I sacrifice 5 permanents during my turn, he loses the game. And I can sacrifice 5 permanents. He's down to 8 cards. I eat 2 food. And then sacrifice 3 permanents to Scavenger's Talent. Okay. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, you death touch the leveler. I get more food out of that, too. I get the Cityscape Leveler in the graveyard to give me the target I want. Eat food. He's not targetable. Now I need to live. There's no point in bringing back something that shows up tapped. I need to use this Go for the Throat and the food to stay alive. Okay, Amalia's probably a bad play here. Okay, on his Go to Combat, we destroy the Sanguine Evangelist to prevent the Battle Cry trigger thing. I've got the blocks. So I take 3. Down to 5, 7 cards in his deck. He has a forced card draw off Outlaw Medic. Exercise would let him get rid of my Scavenger's Talent, but he's not going to get to play it. He doesn't have the ability to draw another card, so it's Swamp. Pretty sure it's Swamp, I Eat Food. Mill for 2. That was a scary game. That was a scary game. So end step sacrifices get there. Sacrifice the Miner, mill 2, bring back the Miner, you gain life. Amalia explores. Crystal Barricade also would have shut down my game plan. Season of Loss doesn't really matter. We bring in a thing. And we eat food, and you mill 2. Pass. I get wins off of Scavenger's Talent disgustingly more often than a lot of my other bombs. But that's the mill out win. Alright, that's what I wanted to showcase for tonight. I've been having a lot of fun playing this. It's got a couple different game plans that it can go to, because I can go to that, like, mill grind win con. I've been thinking that there might be some aristocrats to run in the deck that would do better in terms of life gain pressure, but I'm not sure exactly what I want to run, given that I only have access to the mono black aristocrats. I don't have access to some of the other stuff. You could totally run like one of the instant kill combos that exists now in mono black, but it's not very thematic. None of those are assisted by artifacts, so you're not going to be able to get them to board any faster than anybody else who would play that game plan. I don't know why you would ever actually play that game plan with this commander. You could presumably run, like, Dredging Claw to maybe, like, threaten with your bodies. And I think the most interesting creature that I could run here that I'm not running right now is the guy that makes all of your dudes into Juggernauts, because you could maybe try to get a mid-game win where your Revenants, your Conscripts, your Miners, whatever else, turn into 5/3s, and you just kind of swing in. One thing that's really nice about Graz's effect is any creatures that have evasion keep it, which is why Graz is also a super monster if you're playing like Ornithopters. You wind up with a bunch of 5/3 flyers that are kind of difficult to deal with. Graz is easier to play if you're in 4-player Commander, because you can pick where all your bodies are going to make sure that your important creatures are not like running into somebody they can't swing through. But I think he's pretty interesting. Underperformer of the day is probably Zenith Chronicler. I'm actually going to drop that for Graz. The Rottenmouth Viper also, you see, we don't play very often. Grievous Wound we don't play very often even when we draw it, but it can shut down certain game plans and make it difficult for those life gain decks to play. I find that Amalia and the I find that Amalia and Zorline are both fairly popular commander options. So those are pretty good. We actually got to fight a smattering of some of the popular commanders today. So I find that Roxanne's very popular for ramping into big stuff. We didn't fight anybody who was mainboarding an Atali as commander, but I do see that plenty. And that can be pretty difficult to deal with. So I don't really have exile removal to work with in this. But I do have sacrifice removal. So even if he's able to flip into his big mode, we could theoretically get rid of him if we could ever avoid dying at the hands of the 11/11 Trampler. And I find builds like that are also often running like Zulpendrel and big dumb green creatures that we don't want to deal with. So I think those decks that kind of ramp more effectively than we are while not playing the early game at all are really difficult for us to beat, which is a lot of why I added this discard package with the Raven Man and Tiny Bones and Bandit's Talent, so we can try to just deplete their hand a little bit when we're in those matchups and prevent them from being able to drop those big bad things on us, or at least reduce the number of big bad things they drop enough that Blasphemous Edict, Season of Loss, Meteor Golem, the Cityscape Leveler, and Portal of Phyrexia can help us control those things out. So, now that I've gotten to showcase that, that's going to be all for tonight. Thank you for everybody who stopped by. This week, we're going to MagFest on Thursday and Friday, so I do not have any other streaming planned for this week. We might do a little streaming on Tuesday, depending on how I feel. We could maybe do some streaming on Wednesday if the stars align, but I'm not expecting it. But this has been Jupiter Exile, and I hope we wander again soon. Good night.